on YouTube. So today I'm going to be doing another interview for one of the Blue Girls Club members. Her name is Sevyn the Sag. So I'm going to add her and introduce her to you. All right,
Hello,
how you
everyone.
doing, Sevyn?
Hey.
All right, before I get started, make sure you guys follow her on Instagram right here. It's going to be scrolling down at the bottom right here. It's at Sevyn the Sag on Instagram. Is it that same title on all platforms?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what the reason why I wanted to do these interviews is most of the Blue Girls Club, if you look online, they don't really have a lot of interviews about what happened in the house. So I wanted to give some of the girls like a chance to talk about some stuff that happened in the house and then what we didn't see on camera and everything. So what
Okay.
made you want to do the show?
So, as everyone know, originally, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You sound a little
Originally,
muffled, but I can hear you.
okay, I wasn't picked, so I brought myself on the show. To me, it was personally just like an opportunity. Like I personally just, I'm gonna just be straightforward. I wanted clout, so I was like, I need to go.
Right. All right. So how like tell us your process of getting in the house. Like how did you plan it? How long ago? How long and far away did you know that you was gonna get there? Like how much days ahead did you plan it? Like break it down.
So, I knew that when Blueface did the first season,
Mhm.
um, I got their attention the first time. The first time I really wanted to go was because I used to be friends with the girl known as Rock,
Yeah.
and I didn't like the way she was being treated. So I tried to pretend like I didn't know her so I could get on the show. And so then um what happened, oh yeah, so they ended up ending it literally like 2 days after that when he was like, well, we looking for a new girl. The show literally ended 2 days. So when I saw that they was having a season two, I'm like, oh, I got your
Yeah.
attention the first time, so I know I'm gonna get it
Right.
again.
Right.
So when Blueface posted my video of my OnlyFans audition, that's when I was like, okay, I made it. So when I seen he had posted that I didn't make it, I was like, oh, I'm still going. Like I already had it set in my head that I was still going.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, I have your address, so I'm either going to pull up to your house or I'm going to sneak in. So that was my plan or whatever. So then when I got, at first I was
Try
supposed to go
not
to
to move
Puerto
the camera
Rico.
so much so it delays a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had, originally I was supposed to be going to Puerto Rico. And so I
Mhm.
changed the flight because I don't know what happened, but one day I just got up and I was like, girl, no, you're going on the show. Like, I don't care what he said, you're going. Because I wasn't going to go. Even though I said I was like, nah, forget it. I'm going to force myself on there. But something just came over me and was like, no, go. Like, who cares? And so I'm glad I listened to
Right.
myself. Because I ended up going, I was able to stay. But my first thing was I started hitting up all the girls one by one, trying to build, like, I'm not gonna lie, this is really fake, okay? I was trying to build personal connections with them so they could tell me what time they
Right.
flight, so I could know what time their flight landed. So I'm like just talking to them or whatever. And I'm like, did you get your flight yet or whatever? They're like, no, we didn't get our flights yet. So I'm like, all right, let me wait 2 more days and I'm gonna hit them up again. So when they got their flights, all of them, every single one of them, posted it on their story. I didn't even
Yeah.
have to ask them. One of them covered up the flight they were taking, but one of them didn't cover the time. So I'm like, all right, you're flying it through American Airlines and you land at 2 o'clock. So that
Oh,
means,
right.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, I need to be there by 2 o'clock. I mean, no, it said they were gonna
Right.
be there by like 12 or something. So I was like, okay, the latest I need to be there is 12 o'clock. So be there by 10. In my head, I'm thinking. So then, I this is where a lot of people confused on why me and Drina like talked after we got into our first argument, and that's because I was actually cool with her. Like she's one of the girls that I told like I'm coming. You know, I already got the flight and da da da. She's like, all right, you know, like we had this conversation. She's the only person that really knew prior to me coming.
Right.
So I want to say the day of, I booked the flight out there a day before. I booked my flight out there March 31st, and
Mhm.
I arrived April 1st. No, I arrived March 31st. I lied. I mean May 31st. The show started April 1st. So I stayed at a hotel and then I caught a Uber back to the airport in the morning with all my stuff. And I sat there from like 10 o'clock until 12. I don't know why I went there at 10 o'clock, but I sat there from 10 to 12. I saw Savvy first. And I was like, okay, I'm in the right spot. But then when I grabbed my stuff, she was gone. So then I'm like, okay, I'm looking at everybody's story and I'm like, what do they have on? What do they have on? Look at their
Right.
outfits. So I'm like, okay, the next person I see, I need to catch them. So then I see Jody next. And
Right.
Jody wasn't supposed to be on the show either. She had got picked last minute, so nobody knew she was coming. So she didn't know that
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't supposed to be there. So I'm like, oh, she's like, are you on the show? And I'm like, mm-hmm. I'm like, do you know where we're supposed to go? Because my phone's about to die and I don't know anything. So I basically played Jody all the way till we got to the actual bus, like to get
Right.
there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. And she's like, wait, what? I'm like, you'll see. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I want to say, oh yeah, we're on the bus. And one of the ladies is like, it seems like it's too many girls here. So I'm like, let me just go hide in the bathroom. I'm like, let me go hide in the bathroom real quick. And then I come
Wait, so
back.
they didn't do like a roll call, like, oh, this the 15 or like 10 cast members we got.
So what it was
Drina.
is Blue in his head. Drina wasn't even on the bus, but in Blue's head, he's like, maybe I was drunk and told her to come. So he didn't think nothing of it. Like
Right.
he like, oh, it might. He like one more girl. I probably told somebody to come and forgot. Like that's literally what he said. So I'm like sitting there quiet as I don't know what. Like I wasn't even doing nothing on the bus because I was trying to. First, I was trying to blend in. Then when they started trying to count, I was like, let me sit down somewhere.
Right.
But after that, yeah, they didn't. Blue didn't realize I was there until like 3 to 4 days after the first day, and at that
Mhm.
point, it was just like, well, you can stay. I gotta respect it.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, so he let me stay. It was, I mean,
So when you get to the house, what was your first impressions of the house? Like, was it really, really big? Was there? Did you think it was enough rooms for any of the girls? And then, on another question on top of that, do you think it was too much girls casted on this season? Due to the
um,
fact you jumped in, like got in there anyways.
yeah, I would say, look, I wasn't supposed to be there, but
Right.
I actually don't think it was too many girls. I think that's the right amount. Like if you look at last season, I felt like it wasn't enough girls because once they divided, it was really kind of like three girls versus three, or like three versus one. I mean, like seven of them versus one. It just wasn't really. And the first season was actually more interesting, but this one had more drama because there were
Right.
more people. So I think that the amount of people were right. I think it was just his selection on people, maybe.
Right. That's what
Um,
I think.
but it is a 3 bedroom house, so it was what 13 of us. So I mean, really, you got to count the people that were staying there too, like security and stuff. So it was really like
Right.
a 20 deep house, but it was still enough space. You'd be surprised. It really actually was. Like we didn't really have too many issues with the shower or anything like that.
Mhm.
Considering that my room woke up super late, the room across the hall would get the shower first and early. So it wasn't really as clumped up as you'd think it would be. It really actually wasn't.
Okay. And then once you get to the house, the first episode goes by, and then the second episode starts. How long were you guys in the house when you guys filmed that video with DDG?
That was actually I think the second day. I think that was the second day of us being there. That it was like automatically we were doing stuff. It was either second or third day.
And once you got to the house, did any of the girls like rub you the wrong way? Was anybody like? Because I know you said you were messaging the girls like one by one. Was any of the girls like beefing prior before they got into the house?
No, not before they got into the house. It was no issues. I didn't bump heads with literally anyone until the day of the DDG shoot where Rock showed up, and then me and Drina got into it.
Okay. So then, with the DDG video shoot, did Blueface and them tell you guys that Bonnie and Chrisean were coming, and were you guys surprised that they actually popped up?
Blue didn't know that they were coming just as much as we did it.
Mhm.
I personally didn't care that she had came, just because. Well, let me tell you. The reason when I said earlier when I said I don't know what came over me, I just remembered. I had heard from someone that she didn't want me to be on the show, and like I said, me and her used to be friends. So that's what made
Right.
me decide, like, okay, you don't want me on the show, I'm still gonna go anyway because like what? So I expressed this to Drina, and I basically told her like I want to ask her, like if it's true or not, I'm not gonna just go and be mad at her based off of what I heard. I'm a, like try to
Right.
figure out first. So when she showed up, I wasn't really like feeling it, but I wasn't, all like, oh my God, like I wasn't doing that either. So it wasn't like a diss thing. It's just kind of like when you don't fuck with somebody, but there's no beef. So like when she saw me, she
Right.
spoke to me first. She was like, "Hey," she didn't call me Sevyn. She called me by my name that we know each other by. She's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey," or whatever. And then she had asked me something, and I remember saying like, "I need to talk to you." And then they had tried to remove her from the premises basically because Blue didn't want her there. And then like a lot of the girls there, like before she came, they was talking big shit. I don't care what nobody said. They were all talking a lot of shit. When she get
Mhm.
here, we gonna do this, and she tried this, we gonna jump her. She came in there and they was stuck.
Mm.
They was saying like I'm not gonna lie, they were saying little stuff and trying to shoot her with a water gun. But like if I walk into a house and you're shooting me with a water gun, like that does not mean we have beef. That means like you're just shooting me with a white. If you're shooting a water gun talking about some hey, what's up? That sounds like an
Right.
invite. That don't sound like beef. So that's why just when it comes to her and situation, I think it's best that nobody speak on it because to me, everyone just looks like a punk. Like I'm so sorry. But
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked or nothing though when she came. Like I had a feeling she was gonna come to the house. It was just like all the shit that was before that. Like and a lot of girls that was talking shit when she did come was trying to be cool with her. It was just a lot. Like and there's people who weren't talking shit that was genuinely just cool with her. Like Rose was always cool with her. I know that for a fact. I can't really damn, I don't remember nobody. It's awful.
Before we go, like I wanted to tell you, like you was one of the people on the show that like always have me crying, laughing. Like either it was your face in a scene or like something you said. Like I was like, bro, this girl is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, they said I was like a background, but I'm just like I might have been a background to
No, you
y'all,
were
but
you were funny to me. You were funny to me. So we saw that you and Drina ended up getting into it. It wasn't really clear to like the viewers of what happened. So it seemed like she was mad that you didn't want to fight Chrisean at that point, or like what happened to where you guys because the camera kind of cut.
it was just basically like I think the type of person Drina is, I just had to realize this. I think when she took what I said the wrong way, because to her it's like, okay, well, she felt like I was like talking shit probably about Rock to her when I was just venting about the situation. You feel me? Because it's like, who else cares other than people on the show? Like, who else is going to care to
Right.
hear about this? So I was just telling her basically like what I told you, like I can't like I don't know if she really said this or not. If she did, I'll go about it that way. If she didn't, I'm not gonna, say anything. I'm just we could be cool. So I don't know why, but she somehow said that I said I was gonna beat her up when I see her and all this other stuff. And I don't even talk like that. So that's how we started arguing because
Mhm.
uh Chrisean basically was yelling outside the gate, like, come out here. And I said, I can't come out there to talk to you because I'm not gonna be able to
Right.
come back in. And this is me and her basically just yelling back and forth about talking though. Like we're talking. And I'm a person where
Mhm.
I'll laugh when I'm like upset or whatever the case. I'll laugh at any
Right.
scenario. So I'm pretty sure to Drina looking up from outside, it's like, bitch, you all giggly, hee hee hee, ha ha ha, and this shit. When really I was just laughing at the situation, like. But she was like, you're fake. So I look down and I'm like, who's fake? Like, I don't look like who are you talking to? So then I go downstairs. And that's my
Right.
problem. That's my problem because I could have left it at her calling me fake and I could have stayed upstairs. But no, I wanted to go get Drina face. And so that's all it was. It was just me being a nuisance. I mean, nothing happened. Like
Yeah.
we was having a screaming match back and forth, and then security came and she tried to jump at me, and then I got mad because I'm like, why would you wait till security came to try to jump at me? And it was just me and you in the closet. Like that's what made me mad. That's why I started reacting the way I did because it's just like on top of that, I wasn't the only person that was like, it was people who was really, really talking to her or like trying to be cool and stuff, and you only said something to me. Why?
Right.
And I felt like, and I said this, like, I'm not saying Drina's a bully. I don't have an issue with Drina now, or like even towards like the end of the show, I didn't really have an issue with her. But I personally felt like she was just trying to be on some like, okay, let me try to say something to the person who I feel like isn't going to say something back, which she didn't know that I would.
Okay.
So that's what I just felt like that was. And then after that, like, we was somewhat kind of cool. like when we went to go get chicken at that one spot or something. But then after that, I just stopped talking to her because I felt like at this point, you know, I can see that she was trying to beef with her to get her own clout. So it's not that I respect it completely. I just didn't fuck with it. So I
Right.
distanced myself. I respect it. Get your clout however you want to get it. I snuck on the show, so get it how you get it. But I don't
Right.
have to I don't have to fuck with it. So I just kind of started. I just fell back from her for real. There was no issue or nothing like that though.
All right. So then one of the girls that was a big part of the storyline in the beginning of the show was Savvy. So it showed her fighting everybody downstairs randomly. Did that just come to where D-Lo was telling her like, hey, like the house is getting boring, like start fighting these girls? Or like did she really just want to fight for fun?
It really started because you know, like when you're in high school and it's a fight in the school, and then for some
Yeah.
reason you just want to fight all of a sudden.
Right.
It's kind of like that. Like me and Gina was arguing, but we never, like me and Gina never like asked one another to go downstairs and get in the gloves. Like I don't know
Right.
what it was, but neither one of us did. I personally didn't want to get in the gloves. Don't mind me. I would have if she asked me, but I didn't like the gloves at first, so I surely wasn't going to come out and ask. I'm not sure
Right.
why she didn't ask, but it was never asked between us two. And so I think the energy from both of us kind of just rubbed off on Savvy. And she's like, well, look, something need to happen because y'all not fighting. Like, and it just turned into something. And it's also a part of that, like that day that I don't know about because I was on the other side arguing with Drina. I know that when I watched the episode, I saw Savvy and Cartia arguing at some point. I don't even know how Star got involved. It was just so much stuff that day. It just went so left.
Right. And we also see Savvy made like a big mistake. She ended up calling out Star's name instead of somebody else that she wanted to fight. Did she do that on accident or did she do that on purpose just to really want to fight her?
No, she really did do that on accident. And then it was like Savvy was like, I want to fight you because you snuck me. Like we could be cool, but you still snuck me, so I want to fight you. And
Yeah.
starting really want to get in the gloves and fight. So
All right. Savvy ended up calling out Jersey about having a phone in the house. Did any of the other girls have something in the house that Blue didn't know about? Did any of the girls have other phones? I know I seen the episode a lot. Drina was on the phone a lot. So how did Blue feel about that? Like,
um so the thing about Drina, she got her own special privileges because of the connections that she had it like built with the people in the house, you know, like it was nothing that Blue was giving her special privileges. It was just like if security, you know, liked her more, then they're gonna, you know, do more for her. It's just that's all it was. I think she played the game as well as you could play it, honestly.
all right.
I'd be
So
I'd hate her too. She gotta use her phone, she gotta go to the studio, she could leave, she can do whatever the fuck she wants.
right. Savvy ends up starting a rumor about her, about Jody sucking dick or sucking Blue dick, sucking somebody dick, and somebody seeing. What was the background to that? Because we never got to see that on camera. All we saw was that house meeting you guys had.
Oh my goodness. The background on that was actually freaking hilarious because I had no idea any of this was going on. We're downstairs playing Twister, and next thing you know, D-Lo come downstairs like, "Hey, Shawty upstairs want to fight you," and we like, "Who?" He like, "I don't know. She just said she want to fight." So that's what made it worse because we're all downstairs having a great time, and you all like somebody want to fight, and you don't know who wants
Right.
to fight. So now we all downstairs like, who want to fight? So then when we figure out, literally, they come, they come from the top and they just start yelling back and forth, and they were yelling for like an hour. It got to the point where I'm like getting so irritated. I'm just like, y'all are either gonna fight or shut the hell up. Like the storyline was hilarious. I didn't even know anything about this. It was just funny. Like I don't know. I don't have no background on that story because I was lost in the sauce. Like even when it was happening, I couldn't stop laughing. And then what made
Right.
it worse is that I'm over here laughing. Blue is dead serious mad.
Yeah, he really was. And during that house meeting, he said that this was a season of Gossip Girls. And if y'all didn't stop gossiping, he would exploit y'all. Did you feel some type of way when he said that? Or like what was the vibe in the house after he made that comment? And do you think it was a season of Gossip Girls?
I do think it was a season of Gossip Girls because it's absolutely no reason that um it was just no absolute reason. That it was always a rumor every day about something that like just didn't happen or whatever the case. Like it was just always something like somebody stole this person's stuff, and it didn't always have to involve Blue. Like it was just a lot of Gossip Girl stuff going on, even when Blue wasn't there. So I do agree with him on that. I never personally got offended about anything Blue ever said about the group as a collective, because personally, me and Blue had our own understanding, and I just never felt like he was ever talking to me, so I never cared.
Right.
Because it's like that I didn't feel like I knew he wasn't talking about me. Like I've never came to you and said nothing, so I know you're not talking about me. You come to me and ask me questions, if anything. So that's why I never got offended what he said. Maybe the people that were doing those things did, but me no. They
So
needed to
after
hear it
that,
anyway.
yeah, after that, Savvy ends up leaving. Did you guys see that coming, or do you think she got sick of like the fighting for fun situation?
What I think happened, honestly, and I want to say the way Savvy played it was also very smart, because if you come in and you just make a bang and then kind of leave out, even though she did get into a fight before she left out too, she kind of left out with a bang. Like the whole episode was kind of based on her and her leaving. So now, since she's been gone, all the fans have to say is, "Damn, we wish Savvy was here because she was the lit one." When I personally, I feel like a lot of some people said that knew Savvy personally outside the show said that she's always been like that, but she was just known for like probably I think like fighting homeless people or something like that. But yeah, I don't know about I don't I don't even know why I said that. I don't even know why I
Oh
just
my
said that.
god.
But I was just trying to say that she is probably actually how she was on the show. But I
Yeah.
think that that day that she fought everybody, I think it kind of made her feel like it gave her expectation that okay, now we know you as the fighter, so why are you just talking? Why are you not fighting? So I feel
Yeah.
like to her it was just kind of too much pressure, and it was just like she probably felt like she gave us an idea that she didn't really want to live up to. And I'm not saying she's
Right.
not really like that, but like me personally, I used to fight a lot. That's like if I went in the house and I did that, and then I was like, okay, I don't like. I only did it so that I could get attention, and now I don't really
Right.
want to fight because I'm tired of fighting. But now every time it's an issue, people want me to fight. I would have left
Right.
because like I fight, but I don't feel like doing this every day.
After Savvy got off the show, she went on live a couple of times talking about situations with Blue, saying how she slept with Blue apparently, like
Mhm.
all that stuff. Do you know any background on that?
I don't know anything about that. Blue said he didn't do nothing with her, or pretty much any. Yeah, he said he didn't do anything with her. I don't know too much about him and Drina. You know, that's them. But I know
Yeah.
as far as Savvy, he definitely came and said that he didn't do anything with her. So,
Right.
and
Another
considering
bad
that,
girl.
I was gonna say, considering that she
Sorry?
did make up that story about Jody doing stuff, she's not a credible source. So,
Sorry. Yikes. Okay, Savvy, if you ever watch this, I'm down for an interview. If you want to clear up any rumors, check your DMs. I DM'd you. Okay, it's also another bad girl ended up leaving Persia. It showed in the
yes.
beginning of the season her crying so much and like basically seemed depressed. Did any of the girls like tell Blue like, hey, like maybe it's not the house for her? Like she seemed like she going through it, and was she like that throughout the whole time in the house?
Yeah, she was like that the entire time through the house, like from the very first day. It was talked about that maybe she probably wasn't, like prepared, like mentally ready for this house, just due to what was going on outside of the house. But to Blue, to him, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I do actually agree with Blue. He said, "Do what he said to us was, do we think her situation outside is better than her being with us here where we can comfort her and stuff like that?"
Oh yeah,
And it's like, I really did agree with him because it's like she can go home, but, and it's like, he wasn't saying don't face your issues, but he was saying it's cool to get away from them for some time, basically. And, fill your space with something else. And he's basically telling us that we should fill her space with us. So like we didn't want Persia to leave at all. I was actually very upset because when she's not turned up crying and stuff like that, she's a very caring, nice person, and she was so sweet, and she just was like
yeah.
a house mom, basically, especially because she was the oldest one there too. So it was I really did want her to stay. I would have loved for her to stay, and I do agree that you know even though it was a lot going on for her at home, I felt like she could have somewhat probably got over that in a sense. 'Cause, you know, a lot of people don't believe in therapists either. And sometimes you just need people to talk to who don't know you from a lick of anywhere.
Right. That's true. So then you guys,
So,
they show you guys end up going and partying in the limo, and a fight ends up breaking out in the limo, which the cameras didn't catch between Jersey and Star. So what
yes.
happened in that limo, and then why did the fight end up happening?
So this is the funny part. I was asleep. They said that I was bullying her and all this other stuff. I'm like, how the hell was I bullying this girl? And I was asleep.
Yeah.
Literally, like I remember waking up and people are like yelling. So I had to watch the fight on online like
YouTube.
everybody
Yeah.
else. And then
Right.
I remember seeing Cartier's wig, and they're like, let's throw it in the trash. And I'm like, don't go. I'm like, don't throw that girl wig in the trash. And I grabbed her wig and I took it in the house. Like,
Right.
and I remember carrying that synthetic ass wig on the house just for this bitch to turn around and say I was bullying her.
Oh
No,
my God.
no, no.
Wait, so Cartier said you were bullying her outside of the house after you guys left the show or during the show? Because I don't remember that part.
So she said after, like me and her got into it after the show because
Yeah.
after the show, I don't know what it was. She basically just like started commenting on everything. Like stuff that didn't have nothing to do with her and just capping for real. Like basically when Halo fought Rose, she tried to say that if she was awake and was there, she would have stopped it. The girl was in the kitchen. She was there. Everybody was up. Like, what do you mean if you were up? You were up, and you didn't
Right.
do anything. It was just a lot of like lies and stuff that were going on. It's just like maybe she was trying to be relevant. I don't know what the case may be, but it was kind of just irritating me. It was just like you're literally waking up every day talking about the show. It's almost been a month now, and you keep atting people, trying to beef, get clout. It's just like, what are you trying to gain? So I had said something to her, and then me and her started like beefing, which is a whole nother live.
Oh, shoot. So Cripsess ends up getting in the gloves with Jersey. A lot of the fans complain that Cripsess was extra for the cameras. Was she like that throughout the whole time in the house, or was it like,
I'm sorry, I had to turn my head for
no?
that one because
Why? Why?
extra
Why?
extra for the cameras. The
Yeah.
cameras? No, she's extra. That is
So
her.
she was like that in the house,
Okay,
like
she
for
is
most of the time. This is what the
she's
fans
like
were
that.
saying. Okay.
She is like that. I did read what some of the fans were saying, like, oh, why is it when the camera on, camera off, that girl is screaming and drunk, and I'm pretty sure she's not a drunk. Like I this is another thing I want people to like stop saying. A lot of us were going through things when we went in that house, and a lot of us never have sat in the house for that many days, that many consecutive days at a time. So when all you have
Right.
in front of you is weed and liquor and other people, you want to just have fun, get a getaway. Like there's a lot of people who work every day that came on the show and that was like their mini vacation. So they're gonna drink and smoke every day. And probably when they went
Right.
home, didn't drink or smoke again. So I just want to say, like, I'm not calling anybody a drunk because a lot of them were drinking only because they were there. Like, especially me. I was down in bottles of honey every day. I don't even drink honey. I drink tequila. So
Ooh.
that's like so that's just I don't want to like nobody call nobody a drunk and stuff like that. But I'm just saying she is loud, she is
Mm,
crazy, she's all things above. Me and her got into it over me asking her how she make her noodles. So she is definitely who she say she is.
okay. So just so the fans know, Crip says don't yell for the cameras.
No. She's a
No.
sweetheart
Okay.
too though. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. I think there's just some things like friendship wise, you know. But that's I wasn't that close to her, but you know, I think some things friendship wise she might have to work on, but it don't have nothing to do with me because we weren't that close.
Right. Okay. So were you there when Naj ended up dragging Jersey out of the car? Were you in that car when that happened? And do you know what did she actually take Naj's seat?
So I don't this is what I'm saying. I don't know.
You know?
I was me and Blue were walking and some fans had saw him, so I was taking pictures of them for the fans. The next thing you know, one of the girls were like, "They're fighting," and so me and Blue turned around and like kind of started to jog over there to see the fight being messy. Even though Blue said he didn't want to see a fight, I'd be like, "Ooh, they was fighting yesterday," and da da da. Like just on the low. He a little
Yeah.
messy on the low.
Yeah.
He didn't want us fighting, but don't get me wrong, it was very entertaining
For him.
for all of
And
us. The fights are entertaining to me too.
right. it seemed like most of the girls ended up not liking Jersey in the beginning. Did she do anything besides? I guess the girls didn't like the fact that she didn't want to fight Savvy downstairs. Did she do anything else that rubbed you guys the wrong way to where most of the girls ended up not liking her?
So what it really started was the beef. Oh, actually, you know what? When you asked me were any girls beefing prior, I lied. Naj never liked Cartier from before she even met her.
Yeah, she told me on her
She
interview.
never liked her.
Right.
So I already knew that because when they was going back and forth with Rock or whatever, and Cartier was the first one talking shit, and then she switched up and was like, "Oh, she didn't mean it like that." Da da da. So that rubbed everybody the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So that threw them off about her. And so then when she finally got there, Naj, and that's why I said, like, people can't say that Naj is being a follower, because Naj was the first one that never liked her. She's the one who made other people hop on the bandwagon of not liking Cartier because she expressed how much she didn't like her so bad. Like on the party bus, she's like, "Why is she here?" She said it 3 times. Like, and then she asked her, "Why are you here?" And Cartier just looked at her like, "What do you mean?" Like, she was being very direct with her from day one. And
Yeah.
she said on the day when she said, "I'm gonna get her out of here," she's talking about her in her face. And so that's what
Right.
made I felt like that's what made Star and the rest, and because it was to a point where somebody made a post and was like, "We're getting her gone today," and they had tagged me in it, and Star and Naj, Selfmade, and Halo, and someone
Mm-hmm.
else, I think. And so I had reposted it and was like, I don't know what I said, but I was like basically egging it on. And then I didn't even know who they were talking about though. That was like that's what I was saying. I am the bystander ass friend. Like, I don't know what's
Right.
going on. I could just walk into somewhere and my friend could be like, "I'm about to fight her." Okay, cool. You don't gotta tell me why. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ask questions. They said they didn't like her, and it was just like, okay, like I wasn't going to join in on not liking her because that's not my beef. I never had an issue with her. They knew I didn't because I used to talk to her when they didn't like her. So it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. So then the
Sorry. So
show starts to fade off with Cartier, and it starts to show more of Drina and Jazzy beefing. So how did that beef start? And apparently, a fan page was DMing them. Was the fan pages instigating when you guys would leave the house for events and stuff like that? And then, do you know the background of their beef?
yes. So I was there when the Jazzy and Gina beef originally started, and it was just simply um like I said, Gina played this game the best way you possibly can. I don't care what nobody says. Like, she played the hell out of this. If you look at the first season when Rock was there and she was very
Hmm.
territorial over Blue, that's
Yeah.
kind of what gained that attention to the show too. Like, she just don't touch him, don't touch him. So
Right.
I guess Drina was somewhat trying to like I here's the thing though. I think that Drina is genuinely like that though. Like, I'm pretty sure she has a boyfriend. She's very territorial over him and stuff like that. So I don't think that she was acting or trying to be like Rock when she started doing this. I think that she was really just being very territorial over Blue.
Hmm.
So when Jazzy would be flirting with Blue or whatever, Drina just, walked to her one day, and I don't know what was said, but they started arguing, and then it was just up from there, literally, for the rest of the show. And this is on
And
like,
was Drina as messy as some of the girls claim? Because a lot of the girls after the show ended, they're like, "Oh, something happened." They're like, "Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't
can
hear
you
the
hear
last
me?
question. No, what'd you say?
Oh yeah." So can you hear me now?
Hmm.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of the girls claim that Drina was instigating a lot throughout the house after the show. Like a lot of girls were like, "Oh, this happened because of Drina. This happened because of Drina." Is that true, or like are where
No,
a lot of the girls covering their ass? No.
no. Covering the ass. Because at the end of the day,
Oh, okay.
whatever Drina may have said or didn't say, it wasn't hard to go ask that person if they said it or not. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, y'all are adults and y'all are acting like kids, and now y'all want to blame it on Drina when at the end of the day, you're an adult. Whatever the case Drina said, why didn't you just go ask? It's not
Right.
Drina's fault. It's not Drina's
So
fault that you're easily manipulative. Like, you're easy to manipulate. I mean, like,
so
what's that?
then
Like, that's
Jazz
not
and
her
Drina
fault.
they end up fighting, and then not before Jazz ends up sneaking Mulan. Did Mulan kind of know she was in the room, or did she end up running into her as she walked into the room? Because I know you were like by the room, or like you ended up seeing it. So how did
No,
that
I was
all that
I was
fight hit?
in there. Literally, me, Naj, and Mulan were literally
Yeah,
in the bathroom, and Mulan literally said out her mouth, "I feel like I'm gonna get into a fight." And I didn't know why she had said this. I didn't know why she said it at all. I'm like, "Why are you saying this?"
yeah.
And she was about to explain why, and I don't remember exactly what she said. I think she was just kind of saying like she has a feeling or something. And then next thing you know, we walk out, and I didn't even see Jazzy hit Mulan. I just seen Mulan's mouth bleeding and Jazzy yelling, "You know what you did? You know what you did?" And I'm like, well, that's why she said she knew she was ready to get hit, because whatever she did, she knew she did it. But I ain't have no issues with Mulan. It was just I had no idea, like, and I still don't really remember or know why what Mulan did that made Jazzy hit her, honestly. But Jazzy and her ended up getting the gloves, and she apologized or whatever. Like it was at one point in time,
Were you
me
surprised
and
that Mulan?
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're
No,
fine.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I forgot.
Were you surprised that? Oh, were you surprised that Mulan ended up getting so angry? Because this we hadn't heard Mulan talk not a lot during. Oh man! Next thing you know, you see Mulan just screeching like after the fight. Were you shocked?
um, I was stuck. It wasn't even a shock thing. It was like when I'm confused, I'm so stuck because I'm just like, what is happening? Like, we're like, I was just so confused. That's all it really was. It was just a lot of confusion. Like, I really liked Milan because she reminded me like kind of my mom. But
Mhm.
nah, and I mean, I felt like if you thank you, I felt like you were on the show. Eventually we are going to get into a fight. So it didn't
Right,
really shock me. It was just kind of like, when are you going? Okay. It was just more so like, when are you going to get into a fight and who will it be with?
right. Mulan then says that the house feels divided. At that point, was it divided, and who, like, what sides were made at that point?
The house got divided to me the day that Drina and Self Made fought,
Okay, I'm
which is
getting to
actually
that.
which is actually the same day that Savvy left. I think, yeah,
Right.
I think the same day Savvy left was the same day that the house divided.
Okay. So Drina and Self-Made getting into the fight. Did you know who said something about Self-Made that made them in the argument? Who started that whole beef to where someone said something about Drina and Self-Made didn't want to tell her who said it? Did you know about what happened with that?
So what had really happened was Drina had a personal conversation with the girls that stayed in our room. I was not one of those girls. So it had got back to Blue, whatever they had talked about. And so
Yeah.
Blue, when we had that meeting, he basically asked like what was said. Like it was all handled in one night. Like what was said basically. And so Gina called for her own meeting, like, all right, well, I want to know who said this to Blue about me or whatever. And so I
Yeah.
don't really know why I was called upstairs. That's why me and Gina never personally really had an issue, because I was never in that drama. I never did anything about, I was never in that. So basically she asked Self Made like who said it, and we all in the room, so it's like whoever said it, like, just speak up for her. Like, why should Self Made, and I agree with her, like, why should she have to be the one to say it when everyone's in the room? Like, speak up for yourself. And so basically Drina, like, I don't know who said Self Made's name, but it made Drina latch on to Self Made, like, well, now you're the person who said it. Can you hear me?